Echoes across time, two leaders, two destinies. Alexander was a king. He was a conqueror. He rode forth from Macedon. His dream was a world united under his banner. His armies, loyal and hardened, followed him to the very edge of the known world. They fought for glory. They fought for him. He was a young man, possessed by a fire, an ambition that few could truly comprehend. His legend, forged in battle and vision, echoes even now through the corridors of history. He sought to build, to fuse the cultures of East and West into something new. Adolf Hitler emerged in a different age. It was an age of roaring machines and powerful mass movements. His words were a potent poison. He promised a new order for Germany and then the world, an order built not on unity, but on hate and division. His ambition was as vast as Alexander's, but it was a dark, consuming ambition. He did not seek true unity. He sought the supremacy of a self-proclaimed master race. He unleashed a global war that devoured millions of lives. His legacy is one of unimaginable devastation and sorrow. Their styles of leadership presented a stark contrast. Alexander led his men from the front lines. He shared their dangers, their hardships. His courage in the heat of battle was legendary. His soldiers, the companions and the phalangites, revered him for it. He inspired an unbreakable loyalty through his personal example. He understood the hearts of warriors. He knew how to command their deepest respect and devotion. On the battlefield, he was a general first, a king second, always in the thick of the fight. Hitler, conversely, commanded his forces from distant headquarters. He relied on the mesmerizing power of his oratory. He swayed entire nations with the force of his voice, broadcast over the airwaves. He manipulated deep-seated fears and bitter resentments. His power was built upon a radical, destructive ideology. He demanded absolute, unquestioning obedience. His generals often feared his wrath more than they feared the enemy. He was a politician, a demagogue, a master of the dark arts of persuasion and mass control. A new stage for an old evil. Hitler in antiquity. The ancient world, for all its own forms of brutality, operated under different codes. Honor was a powerful force. The favor of the gods was sought by kings and commoners alike. These were paramount concerns. Hitler, thrust into this world, would find different levers of power to pull. His complex racial theories, born from the twisted pseudoscience of a much later era, would find no immediate purchase. The concept of an Aryan master race as he envisioned it would be utterly alien. He might instead attempt to frame Greeks or Macedonians as inherently superior to barbarians. He would need to craft new myths for a new audience. His core ideology of hatred and supremacy would have to adapt significantly, or it would simply perish, irrelevant in this new context. He might seek to twist existing religious beliefs to his purpose. Perhaps he would claim a divine mandate from some dark, forgotten deity, promising power to those who followed its grim tenets. He could certainly exploit the endemic rivalries between the Greek city-states, or between larger empires like Persia and the Hellenic world. His message of division would require new targets, new justifications, painting others as corrupt, weak, or a threat. He would search for the existing cracks in the ancient social fabric. His powerful speeches, without the aid of microphones, radio broadcasts, or mass rallies, would reach far fewer ears directly. He would need to become a different kind of orator to thrive. Perhaps he would operate more like a manipulative sophist, twisting logic and rhetoric in the public squares or private gatherings. Or he might become a fiery, charismatic preacher at the head of a hidden, fanatical cult. He would have to rely on close-knit groups of followers, on secret societies perhaps, to spread his influence. His personal charisma would be tested in intense face-to-face encounters, building his power base slowly, one convert at a time. The ancient world valued a different set of virtues than those Hitler championed or manipulated. Physical courage on the battlefield was highly prized. Philosophical debate and intellectual rigor were common pursuits among the educated elite. Hitler's particular brand of intellectual bullying and aggressive certitude might not sit as well in societies accustomed to rhetoric and reason. He would undoubtedly need to find his followers among the disaffected elements of society. Those who felt wronged by the existing order, the impoverished, the resentful or ambitious nobles eager to overthrow their established rivals, might be drawn to his promises. He would always seek power regardless of the era. Ancient battlefields, modern brutality, strategies reimagined. Alexander's strategy for conquest was marked by audacity and speed. He consistently sought decisive, set-piece battles where his superior tactics and disciplined troops could prevail. His Macedonian phalanx formed an unbreakable wall of sarissas. His elite companion cavalry delivered the crushing hammer blow against his enemies. He moved his armies with remarkable swiftness across vast territories. He founded numerous cities, many named Alexandria, as centers of Greek culture and administration. He aimed to rule a vast, integrated empire. He famously married Roxana, a Bactrian princess, and encouraged his men to take foreign wives, seeking to blend East and West. Hitler's methods of warfare were the brutal products of an industrial age. He unleashed blitzkrieg lightning war, spearheaded by armored divisions and supported by terrifying dive bombers. His was fundamentally a war of annihilation, particularly on the Eastern Front. He did not seek to integrate conquered peoples in any meaningful way. He sought to dominate, enslave, or exterminate them. His governance was ruthlessly totalitarian, enforced by secret police like the Gestapo and the vast network of concentration and extermination camps. He ruled through systematic terror. He installed puppet regimes in occupied lands, all subservient to his will. His vision was one of strict racial hierarchy and brutal exploitation. In Alexander's time, Hitler would be deprived of his modern machines of war. There would be no panzers to spearhead his assaults, no Luftwaffe to terrorize cities from above. How then would he wage his wars of conquest? Perhaps he would become a master of siegecraft, slowly and cruelly starving fortified cities into submission. He might develop new horrifying forms of psychological warfare, spreading terror through acts of extreme, calculated cruelty designed to break an enemy's morale. He would undoubtedly seek to break the enemy's will to resist before the battle was even joined. He would surely employ spies, assassins, and targeted propaganda, carefully tailored to the ancient mind and its fears. Regarding governance, Hitler would face immense challenges in an ancient context. Ancient empires were sprawling entities. Communication across vast distances was slow and unreliable. The kind of total, centralized control he exercised in the 20th century would be nearly impossible to achieve. He might install exceptionally brutal regional governors, little tyrants in their own right. He might attempt the systematic destruction of local cultures and traditions. He would likely target priests, scholars, philosophers, and established local leaders. He would try to erase existing identities, replacing them with pervasive fear and absolute obedience to his own harsh, unforgiving rule. His reign would inevitably be marked by constant bloody rebellion. A shadow over the ancient world, potential cataclysm. The impact of a Hitler-like figure emerging in Alexander's era would be utterly catastrophic for the ancient world. Ancient civilizations, while frequently engaged in warfare that was often brutal by any standard, still operated within certain established norms and customs of conflict. His ideology of systematic, industrialized extermination based on perceived racial or cultural inferiority would represent a new and terrifying horror. Imagine his destructive doctrines unleashed upon the diverse peoples of the Achaemenid Persian Empire, or turned with cold fury against rival Greek city-states, not merely for conquest and subjugation, but for their complete eradication. The scale of bloodshed could easily surpass even the most brutal standards of that already harsh age. His rise to power would irrevocably alter the course of history as we know it. Alexander the Great, for all his conquests and the bloodshed they entailed, also acted as a conduit for the spread of Hellenic culture across a vast area. He facilitated intellectual and cultural exchange between East and West. A Hitler figure in this era, however, would bring only darkness and regression. Great centers of learning, like the future Library of Alexandria, might be torched not by accident in the chaos of war, but by deliberate ideological design. Philosophical schools could be brutally suppressed. The fragile, nascent shoots of early scientific inquiry and artistic expression could be ruthlessly crushed under an iron heel. The ancient world might plunge into a prolonged dark age, far deeper and more desolate than any known. The specific cultural and historical context of Alexander's era would struggle profoundly to contain or comprehend such a uniquely malevolent figure. Without the unifying power of the modern nation-state or the pervasive influence of mass media, his path to power would necessarily be different. He might emerge as a terrifying warlord leading a band of fanatical marauders. Or perhaps as the charismatic leader of a nihilistic cult, commanding thousands of devoted, unquestioning followers. He could become the absolute tyrant of a single militarized city-state that then attempts to consume its neighbors through relentless aggression. His destructive potential would be immense, even without the advanced tools of 20th century warfare. He would expertly exploit fear and ignorance. He would promise power and retribution to the desperate. Reflecting on this hypothetical scenario, we see clearly how the specific context of an era shapes even the darkest and most extreme ambitions. Adolf Hitler was undeniably a product of his particular time. He was shaped by its advanced technologies, its potent and often poisonous ideologies, and the deep wounds of recent history. Transplanted into antiquity, he would still undoubtedly be a potent force of malice and destruction. But the ancient world would react differently. Its structures and beliefs would channel his evil in different ways. Perhaps its inherent diversity, its less centralized political nature, might offer more pockets of resistance, or conversely, perhaps it would prove even more vulnerable to a uniquely savage and unfamiliar form of tyranny. The enduring lesson is that evil is adaptable. It finds new forms, new justifications in every age.